Welcome to the Leadership Quotient. I'm your host, Purity Warui, and today we're talking about something I believe sits at the root of almost every organization. Before someone is an employee, they are a human being, and today's guest has built their life around that one belief. Siyanda Ramaru is the founder of We See Humans, South Africa's first employee service dedicated to individual personalized communication delivered to every employee every week. It is not a newsletter. It is not a policy, just a message that says, we see you. So I've been looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to the show and thank you for bringing the work that actually matters.
Thank you so much, Purity. Honored to be here.
Now, before we get into the big ideas, I have something first. This show is dubbed Human Behind the Title, and it will be so hypocritical of me to introduce you as a founder of We See Humans and then move on. I want you to put the title down for a second and tell us who you are beyond the work.
Sure. I'm very honored to be here. I've been looking forward to the conversation. Before the title, I am just a very shy lady. I am a mom. I wear the mom hat, the wife hat. I enjoy spending time with my family, cooking for my family. I have 2 bunnies that I love very much. I love God, and I try my best to live my life and have it centered around that. So yeah, that's me.
So I want us to talk about this topic. Caught my attention. There's a post I had put on my LinkedIn, and you commented, and I saw something very great, and I saw an opportunity, and that is why we are here today. It was just a comment, a post and a comment, right? So probably maybe to start us off, beyond your personal life, now let's dive into work. What have you done previously?
I have a qualification in journalism, so I majored in featured writing. I've always been a writer and a creative at heart, and life saw that I would be more fit for marketing. So right early in my career, progression and just, the natural way of things, I moved into marketing, and I've been in marketing for about 9 years now. Yeah, I've worked for a lot of industries. I got to experience, how different the markets are. Um, what really moves people. I've also been in communications, so I know what resonates basically with people. People are very more emotional than logic, and that is whether you're an employee or you're a buyer. So that's where my background, that's me career wise, and being in those environments, I've also had the opportunity of being a junior and a senior, and I've kind of noticed the same patterns along the years. And that's where, we see humans, and the work I do was born.
I love that. And I think what you just shared is actually the perfect place to start because you've spent years asking organization to do exactly what I just asked you to do, to see humans as whole. So let's
Exactly.
talk about why. I want us to talk about why that is so hard to scale and why it matters so much when you get it right.
It's very hard to scale because the systems are not wired. They're not wired to basically see the human. Everything and everyone is reduced to production. That may not be very deliberate. So there is some grace needed to be given to most organizations. Everything is about deadlines, it's targets, it's profit driven. So a lot of the times the human comes way later and after. So it's very hard to scale. I've seen it done from, a leader to a team and not very much from a big.
That's quite interesting. You say it is a systemic issue, and my attention is inclined to that systems. So, why do you think the systems are the way they are?
Okay, the system is the way it is. I strongly feel because of leadership. It should start from the leader because the leader drives the behavior and culture. The way the leader behaves drives culture, and then culture drives sustains or challenges the system. And so the system then gives out whatever comes from the people behind it. And that becomes normal, which is the scary part, that we've normalized it. And although we see that something is missing and wrong, no one seems to be pointing it out. So it's a combination of the three, definitely: system, culture, and the leaders.
Lovely. In your introduction, I like the fact that you mentioned that you've been a junior and also a leader. So you've worn those two caps at one time. And that brings me into a very interesting bit of it, yeah? So I want you to take me back. When did you first notice the gap between who someone actually is and how they are treated at work? Was there that moment where it was so real for you?
So it wasn't one big moment. It was certainly a series of events and moments that I picked up. I would notice where someone is not themselves and people just ask what's wrong without really allowing the space for the person to be vulnerable. I've been in environments where I would see, the human, like someone very jolly and energetic outside a building. And immediately when they come into that system, that space, their demeanor changes completely because maybe the environment doesn't allow it for them to be themselves. Personally, I have experienced it where I lost a loved one. It was a grandparent, and because of how the system is, I wasn't allowed time to grieve. So in my grieving, I was still expected to show up as my best performing self. You can't miss a presentation. You still need to come in. And the gap really is that I would weep and cry and grieve outside the walls. And as soon as I stepped in, I am expected to be normal. Well, the corporate normal. I'm expected to perform like nothing is going on in my own personal life. So yeah, that was when I realized that there's definitely a Siyanda that exists outside these walls, which for many people, it's their authentic self. And then there's the performative one that shows up every day for work.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot. And what strikes me about what you just said is that you didn't have to go looking for this problem. It found you, right?
Yes.
And I think that's true for a lot of people sitting in organizations right now. They're not looking for the problem either. They're just living inside it. I want to make this a bit concrete because I think this is one of the things that is easy to talk about in theory, but very difficult to name when it's happening right in front of you.
Yeah.
So there's this question I've been wanting to ask you. What does it actually look like on a Tuesday morning, yeah, when a workplace reduces someone to their output?
So this is where the danger is. It looks like a very normal Tuesday. It looks like your calendar full with meetings and not one connection happens from your meetings. It looks like your team member saying she's not okay and you quickly step in to give solutions instead of listening to the problem. So you're not providing the room for them to go deeper. It looks like an individual going through the most and still expected to show up and perform at their optimum. It looks like a meeting or an like urgent meeting that's happening that does not allow room for people to be human. You can't operate from a human level when you're in a constantly high-paced, pressure, urgent environment. That's what it looks like. The danger is it's very subtle. We all feel it, but we can't pinpoint at what exactly is this.
As you're talking, it reminds me a while back on a Tuesday. I met this employee and we are just having a candid discussion around work. And as I was asking him, how you settling? He had just moved into a new station. He said, the environment is demanding so much of me. I have a sick child. At the same time, I'm required to perform. And at that particular moment, it changed my narrative. And I asked him, can we just go somewhere and we talk about it? I want you to be vulnerable. And this employee feels the system has reduced him to output and is not seeing him as a person. And that conversation, that was one of a conversation that I was like, oh, as a HR, I think we need to see people beyond their roles. And I remember that material week, I kept telling my leaders, before you even see this title, please see the person. Please ask them, are you okay? And I love that. What I appreciate about everything you've just described is that you haven't made this about bad people, but it's about the system, right?
Definitely.
And there's something almost
Definitely.
relieving about that because what it means, it can be fixed.
Correct.
It can be fixed. So let's go there.
Correct.
Because I think our listeners need to leave this conversation with more than just a diagnosis. I believe you've seen organizations get this right. What did they actually do?
To be honest, I have not seen an organization get this 100% right. I've seen pockets of it, and it's mostly with leaders and their teams. I've been in environments where we all envy the specific department because of how happy and how everyone shows up. And it's largely because of who leads them. So I've seen leaders create that space for people to speak honestly. I've seen leaders create that space where people feel they belong because they are seen. I've seen people be their true selves within departments. And it's predominantly because that leader gave that space. I haven't seen it at a larger scale, to be honest. Yeah.
Wow. It means that leaders in different capacities, this is a conversation I think that we need to drive so that we create awareness on the importance of letting people be who they are and seeing them as they are, right? And I love there's something you told me in our earlier conversations where you send a message to your employee. You wish them, if their children are doing an exam, you send them a message. I would want to hear that. Walk us through that experience. Why do you choose to do that as a leader? And why do you think it matters a lot to the people that you work with?
Okay, so I've seen how in moments where I've felt truly seen, I showed up at work. My demeanor changed. I trusted that leader with everything. And I protected them in somewhat. Like, I always spoke highly of them. I respected them. And this is contrary to popular belief because I came across once a person say familiarity breeds contempt. So there should always be a level of fear that a leader, possess. And I strongly disagree. I started doing that in my team because I saw how much people open up when I talk about the things they cared about. And you'd be surprised how a shy person, suddenly lights up if you mention their dog or their pet that they value so much. And I started doing those because, the organization I was in was going through very uncertain times, restructuring, and everyone was just not at ease with what was happening at a larger scale. And I saw a shift. I noticed patterns. I remembered people by names, what they value, and I would speak and tie that in my, my weekly comms to them. And you'd see people open up. I saw individuals that were quiet quitting because, it reveals itself over time, but it starts way before the physical. So I saw people that were right at the door come back because I chose to see them beyond just what they produce at work. Yeah.
I think that's not a textbook experience. A shift and a shift of attitude, and of course challenging the system.
Yep. And the changes are enormous. I must
Mm-hmm.
say they're very subtle, but the shift you can definitely feel. The trust is more within a team. The synergy, it feels like everyone is just family working towards one common goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the bottom line still stands. We are here to work, but we come bringing our full selves at work. The creativity and the space for getting creative also
Mm-hmm.
picks up. Initiative also picks up because then people are not operating from a point of we are not seen anyways here.
Mm-hmm.
They actually bring their true self, authentic selves. Yeah.
I love that because I remember I have a team of 4 I work with. And, I had not begun with the team because I found them when I moved to this new branch. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember one time we're just having a conversation, and one of them told me, um, "You're the best leader that has happened to
Oh,
us." And I was like, "What have I done?"
purity.
The way you accommodate us,
Mm.
the way you talk to us, the way you explain to us what we're
Oh,
supposed to do, the way you even remember our birthdays, the way you even remember that
yeah.
we support
Right.
a particular soccer club and was playing over the
And
weekend and we are there chatting and laughing
mm,
it out. I remember asking God, was this what you called me for? To be able to bring
mm,
the best version of this person. And from that onset, I was like, I'm going to make your life very easy and very different. So I began to appreciate
mm,
her. Every single morning, we come and we do our words of affirmation. We are in this
mm,
together, right? I have your back. Is there anything that I can be able to support you with? And that conversation changed and trust,
mm.
relationship. I realized
Yeah.
that subconsciously I have been practicing the same and the
Oh, you
impact
have.
is being seen. I may not see the impact, of course, but I would imagine that several
It's
other
being
people are
felt.
seeing the impact
Yes.
and guiding leaders and challenging the systems to be able to appreciate people for who they are, not by the
Yep.
title, for me is a win. And I would imagine if this conversation is driven across top leadership, because I know the culture of the
Mm.
organization is wired by the leaders, right? It starts from
Yeah.
up down. So if you do not appreciate people for who they are as a leader and the CEO of the organization, and
Mm-hmm.
people are at the center of your workplace, then I think
That's
you're
so
just
true.
signing up for failure.
Yeah.
And it is
We
good
are.
when it is good when we are at the center of people's life. I give you an example. Recently, I was telling someone
Mm.
as a HR centered around people, but not even a single time the people that I support will come and ask, "Is the HR okay?"
Mm.
Okay. I was asked to introduce to myself, and this is what I said. My name is Purity. I'm a HR by profession and a human by design.
Purity.
And that we need to have this conversation. I keep reminding myself that I'm a
Mm.
human every single
Yes,
day.
you are. And you
I am a
deserve to be
human.
seen as one. Yeah.
I know I studied human resource, but I'm a human by design. So I,
Oh.
I love that. And I'm happy that this conversation is packaged in a way that most of the people are going to relate, because if we go into the nitty gritties
Yeah.
of reminding people
Sure.
why it is important that we appreciate each other as humans, not
No.
we are saying no, let's appreciate one
Those are
another.
accessories.
The
Yeah. We
accessories, you call them accessories.
yes.
And I love that, all right? So I like how the conversation is unfolding and you're unpacking this into very meaningful, or rather in a meaningful way that most of the people will be able to relate and tap into this. Now, we're doing so well for the leader listening right now and who wants to change this. So where do they begin? It is not a strategy. You said that it's not a program. What are they supposed to do on Monday, first thing in the morning?
I wish that could fix it. It's definitely nothing dramatic.
Mhm.
It's in the small things. It's in you recognizing the patterns and just giving yourself time to absorb the individuals you lead.
Mhm.
Know their personalities, their different personalities,
Uh-huh.
Pick up when the energy shifts and
Uh-huh.
give yourself time. I know it's hard, we're very busy. Give yourself
Uh-huh.
time to ask if you see that the energy has shifted and listen before quickly trying to fix. Because most of us would ask, are you okay? And someone says yes. And you're like, okay, I need project X done. Or
Uh-huh.
you can take a day off. We'll see you tomorrow. So that's not, as much as that is natural,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't really move the needle. So you need to allow that space and room for people to come to you with issues and listen attentively, ask
Uh-huh.
before because you want to. And because we are humans, purity,
Yeah.
leaders are human beings. There will be moments of weakness. There will
Uh-huh.
be, you could be going through something personally as well, or under so much pressure that maybe your tone is not and your delivery doesn't really land well on the other side. And if you recognize those, you need to be human enough to go back to the individual and say, hi, on such and such a day, this was what's happening. I'm hoping you're okay. And that didn't really, sit somehow with you.
Uh-huh.
And that really builds the trust. It says to them, you are human. So they stop seeing you as this fearful person with these bells and whistles, and they relate to you from a more human level. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, start doing those things and come back and tell us how the shift has been, because you will definitely see some changes. Care for your people as much as you'd like someone else to care and see you. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's what I would say. Yeah.
That's a lot. So I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from how this problem starts to what it costs to what
Yeah.
possible on the other side of it. So before I let
Mhm.
you go, I want you to
Yes.
ask two questions that I think are going to stay with the people long after this
Okay.
conversation ends. And the first one is very personal. So if someone is listening to this right now and they feel invisible at work, reduced to a function, and seen
Mm.
beyond their role, what do you want to say to that person directly?
I'd like to say what you are feeling is valid. You are not imagining it. I understand that the environment you're in may not allow it to change, but just know that you do deserve to be seen as a whole human first. And yeah, you are not imagining anything, and what you're feeling is valid, and you
Uh-huh.
deserve to be seen as a whole person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Great. And the last one, this is to the leaders. So, what is one mindset shift you'd want them to carry into this conversation?
To the leaders, I want to say people are not resources that just produce. People are human beings that make the performance better. So if you start seeing them from that perspective, you will have, a 360 turnaround that will actually benefit you for your own good and the organization at large. Yeah.
Wow.
Very short.
Wow. Wow. I love that. So thank you so much for not
Oh,
just
thank
the work,
you.
but for the way you carry it with so much gentleness and so much conviction at the same time. So what I'm taking out of this today is
Yeah.
that seeing people, it is not a one day thing. It's not a program. It's not a policy. Yeah. It's a decision
No,
that you every single day in the smallest moments.
100%.
And if you're a leader listening to this, you don't need a new system to start. You need to look up for the output and see the person producing it, as our guest
Yeah.
has said that. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Problem.
For
Bye.